I'm here with sopping wet hair. Just got out of the shower, but you guys know the drill. When baby boy is sleeping, that is when we can film. Hello, beautiful friends and book lovers. I hope that you're all doing well. I am here with my June 2022 wrap up. And actually, this is a little bit of like a preemptive video. Like I'm preemptively filming because we are going on a little vacation for roughly 2 weeks. We're traveling to Michigan, which if you've been here for a long time and follow my Instagram, then you know that is nothing new. We do love to travel to Michigan in the summer, but it'll be nice to finally go with our son. We did go with him once when he was like really little, like 3-4 months old, but it'll be nice now that he's like over a year and definitely likes the water. It can enjoy like activities. Speaking of the vacation, as you can see, my TBR shelf up top, this shelf up here is typically where I keep all of my TBR books. It's pretty bare right now because I do have a thick stack of books that I'm bringing with me. I do want to show you guys them. So I do plan on reading whatever the July book of the month thriller is, but then I'm also bringing these 5 bad boys. So I know, who am I? I'm bringing 2 romances. Well, at least I think People We Meet on Vacation is a romance. I have heard nothing but amazing things from this. I did choose this as a book of the month add-on for $10, so I'm excited about that. And this was also another book of the month add-on, The Love Hypothesis. Both of these are like a Bookstagram made me do it kind of thing. You guys know I don't really read a whole ton of romance, but it is nice to get out of my usual thriller binge. Oh my gosh, this has like suntan lotion or something on it. This is well, actually, no, I can't say the last Riley Sager because he just did come out with a new book, which I'll put a still of it here. I do plan on reading that. I'm actually hoping it's a book of the month add-on for July so I can just pay $10 for it. But if not, I'm just gonna get it on probably Amazon. But Final Girls is the other book of Sager's that I have never read, so I'm bringing that. The Last Flight by Julie Clark, I've heard like amazing things about. I was gifted this around Christmas time, so it has been sitting on my shelf for quite some time. And then, so we have 2 romances, 2 thrillers, and then I am bringing this Book of Night by Holly Black, which is a fantasy, I believe. So yeah, that is my vacation TBR pile. I hope to read all of these, at least if not in July, in the month of summer before I start teaching again. Okay, I'm gonna start with my 2 thrillers from Book of the Month for the month of June. The first one is Things We Do in the Dark by Jennifer Hillier. If you're unfamiliar with Book of the Month, it is a book buying subscription. For $14.99, you get to choose a hardcover, and I love it because these, typically retail for like $27.99. So I got this with my Book of the Month token. And then you can also choose an add-on, which don't want to show the cover just yet, but this was an add-on I chose, another like $25 hardback that I just had to pay $10 for because that's how much they charge for the add-ons. So I love Book of the Month. I think it's a super, super reasonable book buying subscription. If you think of it that way, I got both of these hardcover thrillers for roughly $25. So I will leave my referral link in the description box below if you're interested. I believe it's $5 for your first book, or they may have upped it for like $10, but I think it's actually, regardless, still a great book buying subscription. So if you go through me, that also means I get a free book, which is awesome. So I chose Things We Do in the Dark as my actual thriller book of the month choice. And I was super, super excited for this one because I absolutely love Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier. If you have not read that book, that is like in my top 10 thrillers of literally all time. It was my first book by Jennifer Hillier, and I absolutely loved it. I will link it for you below. It is an amazing, like, genuine thriller, okay? Then I read Jar of Hearts by her while I was pregnant. I do have a full review for that. I'll link it up here. And I think like maybe because I was pregnant and just like the hormones and everything, I just didn't like that book. I thought that it was like super messed up and like there were some really disturbing scenes in it. Thinking of it now and like all of the like gruesome, messed up thrillers that I read just like on a daily basis, I don't think I would have been as disturbed, but I didn't like Jar of Hearts. So I had like one that I loved by Jennifer and one that like I didn't love as much. Unfortunately, I didn't absolutely love this. I do have a full entire read with me video here where like I read it with you guys and then discuss it along with like a non-spoiler review in the beginning. I just didn't love this. I don't feel like it's a thriller. I feel like it's definitely like a suspense novel, if anything, like a domestic suspense. I think calling it a thriller is kind of like mismarketing it. I think that, I don't know, guys. I didn't absolutely love it. It's about this woman who is kind of like being framed for her husband's death, if you will, and then it's like past and point of views of her, sorry, I was gonna say of like her past, but no, it's her past and present point of views. And yeah, it just wasn't that great. I was able to call like one of the two twists, if you will, in the book like pretty early on. So yeah, I think I ended up giving this, what do my notes say? Do I even have a star count for this here? I don't even know. I mean, you can check out my video. Oh, looks like I have 3.5 stars. So yeah, I think that's pretty generous. I mean, that's always how I am with books. Like once I sit with them for a little bit, I'm like, wow, I feel like I rated that kind of highly. Like I feel like I'm harsher on books like the longer they sit with me. And then I like recognize how disappointed I was with them, if that makes sense. So this next book, everyone was like, you're reading that and you haven't even read her first book. Her first book being The Last Flight, which I showed you in my vacation TBR, but I chose The Lies I Tell for a Book of the Month add-on. This is also a thriller by Julie Clark, and I absolutely loved this book. I do have a full review for it, already filmed, already edited. It's just not posted to YouTube yet, but that will be coming. I ended up giving this a 4.5, I think, or maybe a 4 star. It's not lower than a 4. And this is a thriller about a con artist, and you follow her point of view, and then you follow another woman's point of view as they like kind of interact with each other, if you will. And it is really good. It's super fast paced. I actually really did enjoy this. What is the page count here? Oh wow, under 300. So that's probably why it felt like such a fast read. If you're looking for a fast-paced thriller, like when's the next time you're gonna read a thriller about a con artist, right? Like I feel like that's not super popular. I don't know, like in the thriller genre, I could be wrong, but I really enjoyed it. I'll have all of these books linked in the description box for you if you don't want to go through Book of the Month. But yeah, I loved it. I would say it's definitely a great short like summer thriller read. So you know how I like to say like in between thrillers, I like to spice it up sometimes with a different genre. I gave All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover a try. If you're new here, Verity is probably the best thriller. It's up there. It's up there with Little Secrets, right? Like it's up there. I was gonna say the best thriller of all time, but there are a couple that I feel like are always like battling. I think I have to talk a little quieter because I did hear my son just now on the monitor. There are a couple thrillers that are always like battling for top spot in my brain, if that makes sense. I absolutely loved Verity by Colleen Hoover. Read that book right now if you haven't. But I then read Layla by her, which is like some sort of, it's like a ghostly, it's a ghostly romance. Didn't love it. And then I read It Ends With Us, which was my first romance by her, and it was okay for me. I know there are like Coho fans are like freaking like, if you don't love her books, people come for you. I think for me, like obviously I am a thriller and like mystery reader. So I don't know. I feel like I don't read a whole ton of romances that I'm like, oh my God, that was a 5-star book for me, you know? So then I read this and it was kind of same deal, like a 3.5 star 4 for me. I didn't love the girl in this. It's about this couple who like struggles with infertility, and it's like their past and present point of views of like how they met and like how their marriage is going now. But the woman in this book is like, I don't know. I don't want to go too much into it, and I'm sure people are gonna come for me in the comments, but you know what, guys? We're all entitled to our own opinions, and I just don't think Colleen Hoover's romances are for me. And that's okay, right? Like, we all have our preferences, but yeah, I don't know. The woman in this I just felt was like really annoying, and I feel like I can't say too much about it. Like, I'm not gonna dedicate an entire review for it. But yeah, I just didn't love it, but it was nice to kind of get a little bit of a break from some thrillers. Next book was actually something I was very excited for. I absolutely loved The Last House on Needless Street by Catriona Ward. I have an entire read with me and non-spoiler review video for that as well, which I will link up top for you, or like link in a card, I mean. And loved it. It is one of the, again, that's one of the top ones. It's like always battling for a spot as like my top thriller of all time for me. It is a psychological thriller that is so freaking good. Check out the non-spoiler part if you're interested in it. It's amazing. So I wanted to give Sundial by Catriona Ward a try. I actually did a buddy read with this with one of my besties here on BookTube, and I listened to it and she was actually listening to it too, and we were just like, what the heck? This book it's weird. It like, oh my gosh, can I even like talk about it? All right, I'm actually gonna go ahead and read the Goodreads synopsis for you. I do remember reading this before I chose to read it as well. So this is what pisses me off. First off, this book is described as a twisty psychological horror novel. Okay, for a second, I thought that this book was it was marketed as a psychological thriller. And I think maybe that's why I was so disappointed, because I thought that it was marketed as that, but clearly I need to read because it says it's marketed as a twisty psychological horror. And that it is. It's more horror than anything. But I also feel like it's kind of unfair to categorize this book like as a psychological anything, because I feel like that kind of gives people the wrong interpretation of what this book actually is. So I'm just gonna go ahead and read you the little synopsis here. It says, "You can't escape what's in your blood. All Rob wanted was a normal life. She almost got it too. A husband, 2 kids, a nice house in the suburbs. But Rob fears for her oldest daughter, Callie, who collects tiny bones and whispers to imaginary friends. Rob sees a darkness in Callie, and one that reminds her too much of the family she left behind. She decides to take Callie back to her childhood home, to Sundial, deep in the desert. And there she will have to make a terrible choice." I'm just going to leave it at that. I went into this thinking like, oh my God, it's going to blow my mind like Needless Street. Absolutely not. It didn't. I was extremely disappointed with it. I was super freaking confused through a lot of parts of it. And then like it all did end up making sense at the end. But I feel like I wasted my time with it, truthfully. And it just sucks. Like, it sucks when you read a book by an author and it's freaking phenomenal, like Needless Street was, and then you read this and you're like, is this even the same author? So yeah, that kind of sucks. And then for my last 2 books, I will finish them before July. One of them I think I'm probably gonna finish now as my son is sleeping. It's Stay Awake by Megan Golden. I was gifted this by the publisher, an audiobook, and I'm 70% of the way through, and I don't know, I'm not loving it. I do feel like it's extremely like repetitive. It's just like over and over, and I feel like I can call the like one twist that's gonna come, you know, probably soon, since I'm almost done with the book. I'm most likely gonna film like I'm gonna film my like final thoughts on that for this video. It's just gonna be a different scenery because it's probably gonna be when I'm on vacation. And I also am gonna film my final thoughts on The Kingdoms of Savannah by George Dawes Green. So keep watching, because both of the thoughts on those books are gonna come up. But I was gifted this from Celadon Publishing, And this one is a very slow, like murder mystery kind of thing. If you can see where the book is breaking right there, that's about where I am. I'm loving the Savannah setting. And it kind of feels like there is some mysterious stuff going on, but I'm not loving the writing, unfortunately. I feel like it's just so slow, so drawn out. So, like I said, keep watching because I am going to give you my final count for those right now. All right, I'm back roughly a week later, and I did finish those 2 other books that I was telling you guys about. Well, actually, no, I didn't. That's a lie. The Kingdoms of Savannah by George Dawes Green. This actually was a DNF for me, so I'm not even counting it as like one of the books that I read in June because I literally didn't finish it. It was just like extremely boring, so hard to get through. I even got through like at least 1/3 of the book. And then I was like, at the time I was on vacation and I was like, you know what, like I want to read something that like is genuinely going to interest me on this, you know, time in this time of my life where I might actually have a little bit more free time to read. So yeah, I didn't end up finishing this. So I can't really say a whole lot about it other than it wasn't engaging enough for, you know, to keep me interested. But the last book, Stay Awake by Megan Golden, I did finish and I didn't like it. I'm giving it a 2-star. The only other book I've ever read by Megan was The Night Swim, which is somewhere on that back shelf over there. And I thought that book was extremely mediocre. I do have a full review for that, so I'll link it up here if you're interested. That was a book of the month book, I don't know, probably like 2 years ago. And I just thought that was boring. This book I thought actually was even worse. It was like, it's just back and forth, like with an unreliable protagonist. And then there's also a point of view of like a detective. So this book is actually super heavy on like the detective, like camaraderie, like a lot of dialogue between detectives. And I'm just like, I'm not really big on like police point of views or detective point of views in books. Like I just want the view of our main character. And it just felt like it was more of like a crime novel than it was a thriller. Okay, I just popped on Goodreads because I wanted to make sure what the book was being publicized as. So it actually does come out August 9th. And it's being marketed, I guess is a better word, as thriller, mystery thriller is the first 2 that come up. So yeah, it didn't feel like that. It felt like it was supposed to like the description is like, oh, like this psychological drama, like is, you know, what is this girl running from kind of thing. And it just was like, it felt so repetitive. I'm looking here that it's 352 pages, which is a decent, you know, average size book. It's actually like about the size of this because this book currently reading now is 350 pages exactly. But yeah, it was just super repetitive, boring, and there wasn't like an amazing ending or anything. So that wraps up all of the books that I read / listened to in June. Please leave in the comments what you guys read and hit that subscribe button so you are here for more videos. See you later, guys. Bye.